Villager dies after a golf cart crash. Villager was arrested after shoving a police officer at Lake Sumter Landing. The Christmas tree lighting events are starting. Camp Villages for Christmas. The sign-up begins. Panhandlers in the villages. A Wisconsin snowbird beats a DUI charge. A 75-year-old villager was sentenced to 90 days in jail. A villager was forced to move their yard decorations. A sex offender has moved back into the villages. This and more coming up. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving holiday. Let's have some more news. A man from Colombia was arrested after he was caught behind the wheel without a driver's license. Delwin Wadid Machado Ramirez, 32, who lives at Oakland Hills in Lady Lake, was driving a blue 2003 Chevrolet Tahoe at 8:02 p.m. Monday on U.S. Highway 27 and 441. He was stopped by Sumter County Sheriff's deputy and discovered that the vehicle's registered owner does not have a license. During a traffic stop, Ricardo Gutierrez indicated he was born in Colombia and has never been issued a driver's license. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. He was released after posting a $500 bond. Those of you up north that don't think this illegal thing down here just over southern borders isn't a problem, you have no idea. A 72-year-old villager arrested last month after a standoff at a local car dealership is back behind bars after judge ordered her arrest. She was at a Lincoln Ford car dealership in Leesburg, and I don't know what happened there. I read this news. You have to go back and watch it. But anyway, they asked her to leave. She refused. They called the police. Police tried to get her to leave. She refused. They arrested her. Linda Lincoln, who lives on the historic side of the villages, was booked Monday at the Lake County Jail after skipping a court date in which she was required to answer to a charge of trespassing. Judge Emily Curington ordered Lincoln's arrest after she failed to show up November 15 in Lake County Court. Lincoln's bond has been set at $2,000. The replacement water tower has arrived at Brownwood Paddock Square in time for the holiday season. The previous tower, along with the matching windmill, was demolished this past spring ahead of the start of the hurricane season, as both had been deemed potentially safety hazards. The ornamental structures were found to have rotted wood at their base. The original cost of the demolition and reconstruction of the windmill and water tower was estimated at $225,000, with funding to come from residents living south of County Road 466. That figure set off a firestorm of criticism, with members of the project-wide committee scrambling for more palatable solution. PWAC members voted in favor of a $126,756 bid that would replace the structures, this time using Torrington and galvanized steel. The new windmill has yet to be erected at the square. Once again, I'm just going to say, those of you that live south of 44, I keep bringing this up. When you see things that ain't right while it's under the developer's control, you need to take issue with it now. A woman panhandling Wednesday afternoon at Colony Plaza in the village is made for an awkward situation. There were hardly any parking spaces available at the super busy Publix. This is right before Thanksgiving. As shoppers stocked up on Thanksgiving Eve, many villagers have children and grandchildren in town for the long holiday weekend and were loading extra snacks, sodas, and ice creams into their shopping cart in addition to the traditional Thanksgiving fare. So a woman with her baby panhandling outside the store set up an age-old dilemma: to give or not to give. Many feel it is completely appropriate to hand over loose change or a few bills. Others opt to give coffee and sandwiches. And there are those who take the time to point the panhandler in the direction of charitable organizations equipped to provide assistance. There are always those who simply look the other way. There are those who say that handing over money prolongs the problem and in some cases provides the cash to pay for drugs and alcohol. Well, duh. Panhandlers tend to target individuals perceived to be sympathetic or generous. How do you think panhandlers should be treated? I don't know how I feel about it. Look at San Francisco. Look at LA. Take a lesson. The daughter of a couple in the villages was arrested on drunk driving charges after a crash sent two people to the emergency room. Courtney Allison Presley, 47, who lives at 335 Pacolet Terrace in the village of Caroline, had been involved in a two-vehicle collision shortly before 8 p.m. Saturday at the intersection of County Road 468 and Griffin Road in Fruitland Park. The driver and passenger of the Toyota pickup were transported by Lake EMS to the UF Health, the village's hospital freestanding emergency room at Brownwood. Police officers who were investigating the accident earlier in the day had an encounter with Presley at the Fruitland Park Blues, Brews, and Barbecue event. At that event, Presley had been drinking a Bud Light beer and slurred her words. The Illinois native, who noted she takes antidepressive, struggled with field sobriety exercises. She refused to provide breath samples. Upon arrival at the jail, officers found that she had urinated on herself. She was booked on charges of driving under the influence and DUI crash with injuries. This was also ticketed on a charge of careless driving. She was booked at Lake County Jail and released after posting a $3,500 bond. A villager returning home in a damaged car after a golf game has been arrested in an altercation with his wife. Stuart Randolph Westerland Jr., 72, of the village of Tierra del Sol South, was booked Friday at the Sumter County Detention Center on a felony charge of battery on a person over the age of 65. His arrest occurred days after his wife, 65-year-old Mary Kessler Westland, was jailed in connection with the same altercation. Stuart Westland said he had been golfing in Ocala on November 14th. On his way home, his vehicle was forced from the roadway to avoid a collision, according to the arrest report. He said that out of anger, he decided to drive home, even though both of the vehicle's tires were non-functional. His decision ultimately led to more damage to the vehicle. Nobody does that unless they've got something to hide. When he got home, Stuart Westland and his wife began to argue over the damage to the vehicle. She bit his hand. This I reported last week. You already know all that. Stuart Westland was arrested Friday in an apparent follow-up to the November 14 altercation. He was booked and jailed and released Saturday after posting a $100 bond. 10% means you put up $10. A lost snowbird in a golf cart was arrested on a drunk driving charge in the villages. Richard John Beatty, 68, of Allenstown, New Hampshire, was found by Community Watch at about 1:30 a.m. Saturday, slumped over and asleep in the driver's seat of the golf cart in the area of Bailey Trail and Pelican Path in the village of Sunset Point, according to an arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The Community Watch driver tried using a flashlight and tried to rouse Beatty, but when she was unsuccessful, she contacted law enforcement. When a deputy arrived, Beatty was on the phone. He told the deputy he was on his way home and got lost while using Google Maps to navigate. Let me stop right there. People do this all the time. They use Google Maps on their phone. Not that it can't be done if you know what you're doing. Google Maps does not know what a golf cart trail is. So if you don't know your way around, especially at night, do not use Google Maps in your golf cart unless you know what you're doing. The deputy detected a strong odor of alcoholic beverages. He said he began drinking Bud Light beer and admitted he probably had too much. Beatty almost fell down when he stepped out of the golf cart. He could not stand without being assisted. He refused to participate in field sobriety exercises and would not provide a breath sample. The report noted that Beatty had urinated on himself multiple times while on the way to the detention center. He was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. Don't you feel sorry for the cop? And that's his car. He's got to clean all this thing. He's got to clean it out. I think, good Lord. An intoxicated Massachusetts woman was arrested at Lake Sumter Landing Market Square after getting aggressive and pushing a law enforcement officer. Whoops, that's a no-no. A Sumter County Sheriff's deputy was working the square at about 8:15 p.m. Friday when a woman approached him and reported that 73-year-old Sandra Marie Amburn of Pittsfield, Massachusetts, was in the area of the stage and was very intoxicated, needed to stop drinking. According to the arrest report, the woman pointed out Amburn, who was standing in a crowd in front of the stage. The deputy found Amburn and asked her to step away from the stage. She was visibly intoxicated and aggressive. Amburn touched the deputy several times, even after he asked her to stop. Amber disregarded the warning and pushed the deputy's service belt. How drunk do you have to be this stupid? Amber was arrested on felony charge of battery on a law enforcement officer. She was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $5,000 bond. Welcome back, snowbirds. A villager has died after suffering an apparent head injury after a golf cart mishap near his home. Daniel Hanger, 70, of the village of Duval, died Saturday night at Ocala Regional Medical Center. He was driving a 2021 Yamaha golf cart shortly after 7 p.m. November 14th, westbound on Odell Circle, approaching the intersection with Raintree Drive when he made a left turn and his right side tires hit the raised concrete curb. He was ejected from the golf cart and fell onto the asphalt roadway, according to the preliminary accident report from the Florida Highway Patrol. The golf cart rolled another 50 feet before it came to rest in the northbound lane of Raintree Drive. Be careful, people. Be careful. These golf carts are fun. They get you anywhere you want to go. It's a different way of traveling, especially when it's warm outside. They're very, very nice, easy to park, but they're not toys. They're just not. Be careful. Registration for a holiday edition of Camp Villages will be next week. Villagers can register their grandchildren for the fun beginning Thursday, December 1 at campvillages.com. Camp Villages will run December 19 through 29 and will feature activities aimed at grandchildren ages 3 through 16. The fun will include candy cane, bingo, and hot cocoa, disc golf, holiday crafts, and soccer. Participants will also have the chance to take home a photo with Santa. Check out the schedule below. I'll post that up for you real quick. The Christmas tree lighting season is set to kick off in the villages. Merriment begins with the first Christmas tree lighting event Saturday, November 26th at Brownwood Paddock Square. Performers will include the Mystic Jewels, All That Ballroom, the Primetime Twirlers, and Music in Motion. What? We don't have any belly dancers this year? Just saying. How about the cheerleaders? Did they say cheerleaders? They're pretty popular. I don't know. We'll see. I don't go to them anymore anyway. The second tree lighting will take place Tuesday, the 29th at Lake Sumter Landing Market Square. The performers there are the Village Cheerleaders, the Village Twirlers, the Drum Corps, Aloha Kaukula Dancers. The Sumter County Sheriff's Office will be hosting a toy drive and benefits for underprivileged children while there. Spanish Springstown Square. The final lighting ceremony will take place Friday, December 2nd at Spanish Springstown Square. Earlier that afternoon, the Christmas parade will set off at 3 p.m. This year, the Christmas parade has been moved from the polo fields to Spanish Springstown Square. All Christmas tree lighting festivals will take place from 4 to 9 p.m. If you've never been to a Christmas tree lighting, it's really good. It's just gotten too crowded for me. I just don't like it. Letter to the editor. Citizens of the villages, wake up and take a long, hard, emotional, look at the events taking place within and around the villages. To be a safer and more pleasant community to live in, we have to say no more. Villages is slowly becoming just like the crap holes that many of us left to live here. We have the power to stop the crime, criminals, low-lifers, unchecked development, and other issues that affect our quality of life. Put the emotions away and let's get it on. Cleaning out the issues and undesirables that are a clear and present danger to us. That's sent in by Steve Widow from the village of Santiago. 75-year-old villager has been sentenced to 90 days in jail after violating her probation. Catherine Wallace Chandler, who lives in the Quail Ridge Villas in the village of Briar Meadow, has been behind bars since September 21 at the Sumter County Detention Center. She was sentenced November 17th to 90 days in jail for violating her probation on a charge of driving under the influence. Her time behind bars began after a DUI arrest in June. Chandler had been at the wheel of the black 2013 Mercedes when she was traveling eastbound in the westbound lane of traffic on State Road 44. Chandler had been sentenced August 23rd to probation, but violated her probation by failing to show up for her work detail. After spending 11 days in jail, she drove her Mercedes to her probation office, despite the fact she had a suspended driver's license. No driver's license. Residents can begin booking their room reservations on December 1st. You can download the form here at facility-reservation-application. You can email the completed form to roomsreservations@districtgov.org or deliver it to the following recreation centers: La Hacienda, Seabreeze, Finney, or Azelle. For additional information, call 352-674-1800. They will run out fast. Get those reservations in if you want to reserve a room for a party. A Wisconsin snowbird who drove her golf cart down 466A in the Villages won't be prosecuted on the charge of driving under the influence. The prosecutor's office has announced that it has dropped a case against 54-year-old Colleen Marie Beardsley of Franksville, Wisconsin. The case cannot be prosecuted according to an announcement of no information filed in Sumter County Court, stating that because a breath test has been tossed out, there is insufficient evidence to pursue the case. They said they left Brownwood Patty Square and was trying to find their way back to the Oleanders Villas in the village of Sable Chase. The GPS on their phones had instructed them to take County Road 466A, but the GPS was apparently not informed that they were traveling in a non-street legal golf cart. Now, the Villages does have an app for your phone for the golf cart trails. There's two of them. One of them, I understand, isn't very good. The other one, you pay like $7, a one-time fee, like $7. Everybody tells me that one is pretty good. So if you come down, golf cart, don't want to get lost, $7, download that app. I understand you'll be pretty good. A Village of DeLuna woman will lose her license after her arrest on a drunk driving charge after a car crash. Cynthia Lee Hook, 60, pleaded no contest earlier this month in Sumter County Court to a charge of driving under the influence. She will lose her license for 6 months, has been placed on probation for 1 year, and has been ordered to perform 50 hours of community service. She was involved in a traffic accident at about 3 p.m. September 13th on U.S. Highway 301 at County Road 216 near the new Dairy Queen restaurant in Oxford, according to a arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. We do have a Dairy Queen, but it's on 301. It's not golf cart accessible. I wish it was, but it's not. To the editor, if a person has a legitimate complaint about a villager's home, they should file it with their name attached. If it is justified, the complaint is correct, and the filer should not be afraid to add their name. That's sent in by Daniel Conklin from the village of Dunedin. I disagree. Totally. I've stated my case on this. The whole idea of a complaint-based community is that you can make an anonymous complaint about something that's against the district rules. We're all governed here by our district rules. So if you break one of them rules, you should already know. So you know what the district rules are. So if somebody has something he needs to get straightened out or her needs to get straightened out and it's against your district rules, why do you need to know the name? You broke a rule. Why do you need to know a name? That's what gets me. Why? So you can harass them, so you can argue with them, watch them, and make sure that if they make a mistake, then you're going to turn them in. So it gets, fighting back and forth. That's all that's about. I am a big fan of anonymous complaints as long, and I've always said this has never changed in my mind. I don't think anybody in District 8 should be allowed to make an anonymous complaint, let's say, of somebody in District 13. You don't live there. They have nothing to do with you. Stay in your own district. And I have said that. They should be verified, and I think they should do that. If I got a complaint about one of my neighbors, I should be able to go file a complaint, and what they should do is say, because I'm in District 10, they should be able to verify that I live in District 10. That gives me the right to make a complaint in District 10 and nowhere else. I think that should be done. As far as doing away with anonymous complaints, no. Just follow the rules, people. Just follow the rules, and we got no problems. Village of Charlotte resident Chuck Marcotte received a $1 million bill at his 80th birthday celebration. The villager received the bogus bill from Margie Steele, Christine Heaton, Linda Marcotte, and Karen Carbonu of the Puck Puggy chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. It was their way of saying thanks a million for his support of numerous Puck Puggy chapter DARE projects throughout the year, using the graphics and computer technology experience, as well as setting up many public displays for them. Happy birthday, Chuck. A man who was fired earlier this year after a dispute at a country club in the Villages was arrested last week after his unwelcome return to his former workplace. Stephen Michael Prushanek, 32 of Leesburg, showed up Wednesday morning at the Orange Blossom Hills Country Club on the historic site of the Villages. Prushanek was banned from the restaurant earlier this year after he became belligerent and aggressive toward law enforcement. The Illinois native was tasered in that incident. When he was found Wednesday near the loading dock at the restaurant, Prushanek claimed he was there trying to get his job back, according to the arrest report. He was arrested on charges of trespassing and booked at the Lady Lake County Jail. He was released the following day on his own recognizance. See, just because you're in the Villages, even in the oldest section of the Villages, don't assume everybody walking around is from here. There's another one. A 23-year-old Ocala woman was arrested on a drunk driving charge after drinking shots at Margarita Republic in the Villages. Nicole Moldenhauer was driving erratically in a white sedan and nearly struck the curb several times at 2:30 a.m. Saturday when she was spotted by a Lady Lake police officer. A traffic stop was initiated on Bashara Boulevard and Main Street. When the officer approached Moldenhauer, a strong odor of alcoholic beverage was detected. She indicated she had been at Margarita Republic at Spanish Springs Town Squares where she consumed 2 shots of liquor. Moldenhauer, whose clothes were turned inside out, struggled through field sobriety exercises. A baggie of marijuana was found in her underwear. Drug paraphernalia was also found in her vehicle. Prior to towing, the Virginia native claimed she had weak lungs and could not provide a breath sample. She was arrested on charges of driving under the influence, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia. She was booked at Lake County Jail and released after posting a $1,000 bond. Oh, man. Them cops has heard it all, ain't they? A man and a woman in a golf cart was arrested when they were found late at night near a pond in the Villages. The Lady Lake police officer spotted a golf cart at about 1:30 a.m. on Thanksgiving at the retention pond near the intersection of US 27 and 441 and Main Street. The officer parked in the lot near the Ruby Tuesday restaurant at Spanish Springs and walked over to the pond. The officer shined a flashlight on the couple, later identified a 58-year-old Timothy Luther Smith and 31-year-old Samantha Heverin, both of Summerfield, who appeared to be intoxicated. Heverin admitted she had a crack pipe and needles in her purse. The Toledo, Ohio native also had a container of methamphetamine concealed in her bra, according to the arrest report. Smith was also found to be in possession of methamphetamine, marijuana, drug paraphernalia. The marijuana was found in the Maryland native's golf cart. Makes you wonder, if he had a golf cart and he's in the Villages, where were they staying? Both were taken into custody and booked at Lake County Jail. Bond was set for each at $5,000 apiece. A guest staying at the hotel at Spanish Springs was arrested after an altercation at a self-storage facility. Sumter County Sheriff's deputies were called at 6 p.m. Friday at the Fort Knox self-storage facility at 13634 U.S. Highway 441 after 41-year-old Gary Wayne Maxwell Jr. showed up there. He indicated he is a guest at the Marriott Town Place Suites in the Villages. That's in Spanish Springs. The law enforcement had been on the lookout for Maxwell after he allegedly attacked another man earlier in the month at the self-storage facility. In that attack, Maxwell pulled up in a golf cart and approached a pickup in which the other man was seated. Maxwell began striking the other man through the open driver's window, according to the arrest report. The man used his leg in an attempt to push away Maxwell, who stands 5 feet 11 inches and weighs 210 pounds. The West Palm Beach native twisted the man's leg. There were 3 witnesses in that attack. The man signed an intent to prosecute. When Maxwell was found at the facility on Friday, he was in possession of heroin. He was arrested on charges of burglary with battery and possession of drugs. He was booked at Sumter County Detention Center, $17,000 bond. Once again, question, if you had a golf cart, and I'm not exactly sure where the storage facility's at, where'd he come from? If he's on this side. If he's on the other side, where's he staying? A woman was jailed after filing a false report about a vehicle hitting her shopping cart at Trailwinds Village in Wildwood. That's straight across the street from Pinella Shopping Center, which is golf cart accessible. Trailwinds is not. Tina Marie Nelson, 55, of Lady Lake, last week summoned Wildwood police at the Walmart in Sarasota Plaza in the Villages. She claimed she had loaded merchandise into the trunk of her vehicle when a vehicle with Tennessee license plate struck her shopping cart at the Lowe's Home Improvement Store at Trailwinds Village. She said she was pinned between her car and the shopping cart. Nelson claimed the vehicle fled the parking lot. She drove to Walmart and called law enforcement. Okay. Nelson signed a written statement claiming he smooshed me between my cart and my car. The officer wrote it in the arrest report. The officer went to Lowe's and asked to see the surveillance footage. The footage showed that the other vehicle did not hit Nelson's shopping cart. In fact, Nelson pulled the shopping cart closer to her and was seen on the surveillance showing her dissatisfaction to the other driver. Nelson was arrested on a misdemeanor charge of filing a false police report, and she was booked at Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. Some people just don't get it. You're being filmed everywhere you go nowadays. I don't care where you're at. There is no privacy anymore if you think there is. It's private property. These businesses are all private property. They have the right to video for self-protection, if nothing else. Just like I have a right to video my house, in my house, around my house, on any public thoroughfare. Everybody on the road's being videoed. Cameras above every stoplight. When are people going to realize this? Letter to the editor. I agree we should have our IDs scanned to go to the pools. I believe that people from outside the villages go there to take a shower or to cool off. That's sent in by Carolyn Townsend, the village of LaBelle North. Well, Carolyn, they do scan them once in a while, occasionally, if somebody's available. Call Rohan's office. I tell everybody, when you got a problem with your pools and outsiders using your pools, they don't even live here, they're taking advantage of it, call Rohan's office. Overwhelming with phone calls. Because yes, they're supposed to be scanning people to go in these pools, but we all know they don't. Okay, I think that's going to be enough of the news for this week. I'll get this down and uploaded. I got to get ready for the W&L show. That's tomorrow. Today's Tuesday. We're going to be busy around here. So with that being said,
don't leave your keys in the golf cart.